Recently, I gave a talk to some business owners, and it was an absolute disaster. It was over Zoom, and technically, nothing worked. My internet was going in and out. My computer seemed like it needed a reboot after reboot. I couldn't get focused on what I wanted to talk about because of all these issues. I then got nervous for the people that actually paid to be a part of this training. And I felt like, oh my God, I should just, refund them and say, sorry, this is a disaster. So what did I do? First of all, I took a deep breath. I apologized for, the unexpected circumstances. And I began to think about what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst case scenario in all of this? Well, the worst case scenario is I say, you know what? This is a cluster. Here's your money. Sorry about that, and we'll come back again soon. Or the best case scenario is let's just calm down. When emotion is high, intelligence is low, and my emotion was high, so I didn't want to say anything stupid or make any rash decisions. Just calm down and say, I apologize for what's going on. Let me go ahead and figure out how to fix it. Which is what I did. It took, it seemed like it took hours, but it took about 10, 15 minutes to finally fix it. And, I've had a lot of setbacks and failures, if you will, in my life. And, some of the things I've learned is to, number one, I've learned to slow down. I move pretty quickly. Sometimes I talk pretty quickly. I think extremely quickly. And a lot of times I make very quick, irrational decisions. And I feel like when I just take a deep breath, which is probably number one, take a deep breath and slow down. What I'm really trying to do is slow down my heart rate, slow down my breathing, and trying to get my thought process on point. So in the moment, those are some of the things that I've done, and then just address whatever the issue is. Like this one is just a technical computer issue. But I've had a lot of other failures that weren't necessarily in the moment. There was things that like repeated over and over again. Things like just being overwhelmed. So how did I eventually address that? Because I was overwhelmed and it just felt like I was coming up the same problems. I was working more and more hours thinking that was the solution to fixing this fixing the problem of trying to reduce my overwhelm and reduce my stress and anxiety and help my business. One thing I did is started to ask myself some questions. I feel like when I ask myself questions, almost coaching myself. So that's the one thing is ask questions that I would ask someone. What specifically is overwhelming me? What specifically am I worried about? What specifically is the reason that I wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning worried about my business, worried about the next day? So I love the word specifically because it helps me get very clear on what's wrong with the situation versus being vague. So in the case of working a million hours and feel like I'm doing everything. The specific things I came across was I feel like I can't let go of a particular task to my staff. I feel like they're not capable enough of doing the things that the way I need to do them. I felt like I can't let go, whether it would be the front desk stuff or billing or speaking to people or doing workshops or whatever the case is. I felt like that was the issue. So when I started getting really specific around things, I realized, so what would have to happen for me to feel better? So that's the last one. What would have to happen? What would have to happen? So I kind of like this question, what would have to happen? Because it gives me permission to think about the problem in a different way. Think about what I would want. So what I realized is, what would have to happen for me to feel better about my business, better about my stress and anxiety? Well, my staff would have to be really clear on what to expect. So that led me to creating specific measures, specific metrics in a particular job. What else would have to happen? There would be some type of system in place, something that they would follow that would produce a positive result. What would have to happen? They would have to be trained on that. What would have to happen? We would have to have discussions to make sure that they were clear and they felt good about being successful in their job. So by calming myself down, asking myself specific questions of what's the problem, what's bothering me, and then what would have to happen, basically coming up with potential things that would be ultimately the solutions, that helped me overcome and turn around these seemingly failures into successes or into less of a failure. Sometimes it took a few times of failing to finally learn the right way to do something. So I just wanted to share it with you today. If you have any comments or thoughts about this, of how you handle setbacks and how you handle failures, I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. Other than that, we'll see you next time with another tip that hopefully helps you in your business and helps you achieve everything that you want.